the Chew Man. If you can believe it's made his way to Adelaide too on a private jet and fix his Christmas. So everything's going beautifully here. For Coates High, you're listening to the Footy Preview. We have the Adelaide Crows skipper Nathan Van Berlo been good enough to come in and join us. I heard him earlier on the drive in here, Gary, just speaking to some other very underwhelming stations and mobs.
We had to speak to them before 7 because they go to bed. Jim.
That's it. Boring the bloody crap
early.
out of our man. He's trying to give him some nice sizzle. Just giving him the line and length rubbish questions. Hello to you, VB. Nice to see you, mate.
G'day, guys. You've got a nice view up here.
Well, it's magnificent, isn't it? I've just never been here to broadcast footy. I think it's absolutely superb.
Now, JB, they actually did say to have a get into you before we started that you don't like Adelaide Oval.
Oh, mate, what do you mean don't like it, mate?
You said you used to hide from the short stuff out here.
I dominated this joint, VB.
And one of those two I was talking to earlier might have passed on that little bit of mail
mate,
to me.
All I know is this: you can only average 50.
Yeah.
If you're doing that,
Jim,
the rest can look after itself.
You weren't getting big scores against the Tassies of the day, were you? And not getting the job
Well,
done against
I
the big
suggest-
heavy hit. I'm just asking you.
I suggest
You're doing a lot of defending of yourself.
VB was speaking earlier to a couple of people. He just said one of them was fat ass Chuck Berry. Would I be right?
He wasn't standing up, so I couldn't get a good look.
Exactly right. And they were packing some reasonable heat in those days. Merv Hughes,
Jim was
etc.
Dodders.
And
What, not Scubo Donalds,
No,
not Pie
that's
Puffs.
Simon Davis.
might have
Talked to
been,
enough of them, Wolf.
might have been 60 average against
Jim
them.
was the Graham Hick of domestic cricket out here. He was a flat track bully.
That mightn't be too far off the truth. Nathan Van Berlo talking to us on Triple M Football, yes.
Rory Sloane is one of
mates.
Triple M's favourites. His
Yep.
mad mates came over here to Adelaide Oval. They'd end up in those trees. That's
They
my
would.
concern.
They
down
would.
There. You can't get in there, can you?
The Moreton Bays,
cordoned-
they'd end up
they cordoned
amongst
off.
the foliage.
I could see the Upway Tacoma boys
Yep.
hanging off there.
No, I'm hearing you. Don't worry about that.
He was telling me before how when the last game at Amy Stadium a couple of years ago, he had 80 tickets for his mates that he had to get for his 21st birthday.
Can you believe that?
And only 5 of them went, and the rest of them they sold.
That's it. They scalped the hell out of
Smart
him.
man.
Hey, as I say, Nathan Van Berlo, good enough to speak to us. Mark Bickley, any less boring? Nathan, as
I
I
love
look
the
at him in
sound
the
of his own
Bushnells.
voice, Bix.
Doesn't he just? And it's a real monotone sort of shit voice too. And he hasn't got any presence about him.
He has taken some serious
I'll
pills.
pass that back to him for you,
I did
JB.
just say to him, you were speaking to us, and I asked you the question, has he become any less boring? I can see the danger there now. And
Yep.
Danger's standing talking to him because he has to. There'd be no
He always
other
needs to
reason.
be talking to someone, Bix. So
That's
yeah,
it.
there you go. Danger's in his
He
eye-line
is,
alignment.
he is. And we also like to assess, Gary, the way that young men present themselves in the Triple M box. VB's got a very nice pair of wheels.
I go straight to the shoes, Jimmy, as you know.
Very
and they
crisp
are
pair.
nicely buffed. This is the captain of this
That's
football
good,
club, Jim.
and showing it at the
This
minute.
is not your Tyson Goldsack
No.
who wanted in with his half
he?
footy socks.
Yeah,
sort of
and a
set
pair
up.
of sort of
I've got the
training
same
shorts.
kid on as the chairman next door.
I
here,
can
so I
see
better,
that.
Hey, they're a very well presented footy
They
club.
are.
I like it. I can tell a lot about that.
My only query with the whole ensemble, I think it's a very nicely cut suit, but I think the Foodland tie,
yeah, well,
they're a
that's
chain
true.
of
That is true.
they're a
Yes.
chain of
Supermarket.
Coles sort of supermarkets.
We
over
get a
there.
bit of feedback on the tie.
I don't
but,
think your tie's
certainly
cutting.
makes
It's not
a
your
statement,
fault.
that's for sure.
It's not your fault,
it's
by the
a
way, but
club
I-
attire, so it must be worn.
I'd be going next year as the captain and saying we need something sharper than that because the rest is looking magnificent.
Well,
I don't
hopefully
think
next year I don't have to worry about wearing the tie. I might be putting the
Well,
the
exactly
hands on
right,
out there,
yeah.
so I don't have to worry about it. Someone else can
Slimmer
fight that
pant,
battle.
I think, too. A
Oh,
slimmer cut.
what do you think they've got a bit
A
of
slimmer cut.
Yeah, but
Yeah,
they're
what's it?
athletes, Gary.
No, but Jim, come on, you can get them tailored. You
We'll
can
get 'em
taper
tailored.
them.
Yes.
And Jim, you always like to ask before we let people go about tracking square and
Yes.
what work's been done. Nathan's a bit above that. This is a well-educated man, I can tell that. But what about Texan? His numbers dropped right off, we heard.
Yeah, when
Bernard
Bern
left.
his house,
Yeah.
there's a
Right,
revolving
Bern.
door out the front that just stopped revolving.
Yeah, well, Bernie's a bit like that. I lived with Bern for 3 years, and yeah, he's one of a kind, Mr. Vince, that's for sure. But sorely missed, and I know Tex misses him as well. But
Well, I went out the back here during the test match, working, so I wasn't able to enjoy it as I normally like to, people. But I dropped out there for about half an hour, and a lot of your boys were out there,
yeah,
including Bernard, who at that stage was with the Ds. But the Texan was there, and there was about a 20-metre circle outside of which you could see the first fairer sex, and then they were all out beyond that.
Yeah.
I said, boys, I thought you'd be the hottest ticket in town, and Burns said, Texans driving them all away.
that makes perfect sense.
So is he just going nowhere? What's happening with the great man?
I don't know. We'll have to go and pass it on to him. You've heard that he's
Yeah,
struggling
we've
a bit, and
we've got
I'll
concerns.
give him a rev up and see that form needs to lift.
I think that is exactly right. Well, it's great catching up with you. It must be killing you not playing, but hopefully, as Gaz said, you're back quick and having a big impact.
Thanks, guys. Appreciate it.